From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, a less optimistic, more critical Mike Norvell. Yes, please sign us up. Ball players that love playing football, and the wide receivers starting to emerge. Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. Shake it and take it. Sip the juice. When you sip the juice, not only will it taste great on the palate, it's going to nourish your body with vitamins, nutrients, and caffeine. All natural caffeine. Perfect absorption. Energy lasts all day, all shift long, which I did say shift. I think somebody said a ship the other day, Corey, when we were talking to players, and people thought maybe he didn't say ship. I think he said ship because I had my Vitamin Energy focus. So I was listening. I could hone in. I could hear him accentuate the syllables. Vitamin Energy, VitaminEnergy.com, clinically tested, clinically proven, synergistically formulated to work, period, dot. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Come on home, everybody. $1 for a week, and you can enjoy a one-year subscription to The Athletic when you hop aboard right about now. Come do it, everybody. It's worth it. Corey's cranking out content. Ira's cranking out content. Matt's cranking out content. So's Tom. I'm trying to do some stuff. It's always a good, fun time. And don't forget, when you do sign up for Warchant.com, we're on the On3 network, which gets to leverage you a whole bunch of great things like full access to all the On3 fan sites and national message boards. A lot of people like the main board, Corey. That's part of the plan now. You can check out the Alabama message board, see what they're saying, the Miami message board. I think pretty much every ACC team now has an On3 site, so you can do that. You get access to the Ravels recruiting and high school coverage with the biggest names in recruiting media like Steve Wiltfong, Chad Simmons, and you get access to the On3 national team, Andy Staples, Brett McMurphy, Pete Nakos, Ari Wasserman. So all of that's part of the subscription. We are adding value to this and not adjusting the price. Come on home, everybody. And you can read Corey, as I said. Corey, how you doing, buddy?
I'm wonderful, buddy. How are you?
Good. Although, listen, can I complain real quick? I am fine.
I would love it. I would love to start the week with a complaint.
So what are your thoughts on the fact that we're going to get coordinators Sunday after the Alabama game?
I like it.
Oh,
I'm with Ira. I thought we had
betrayed
I like it. I get that it's not. The one bummer is, when is the time? Like 6 o'clock?
On a Sunday.
No, but I don't care about the day. Well, I do, but 6 o'clock, right? It's not at noon. I think it's later in the day.
Correct. Yeah, it's 6.
That's a bummer because of the football. Like the NFL football I'd like to be watching. But other than that, I like it, man, because I doing what I do, and I know we have kind of different jobs, but not really. But I have to write. I have to write a lot more than you do, and you do a lot more stuff than I do. But we're not. I'm not stacking up who works harder, everyone. Yeah. My point is, man, it is hard right after a game to get any real insight from Mike Norvell about what went wrong. I have to watch the film. I have to look at the tape. This. And by the time we get the coordinators 2 days later, I don't know that everybody cares as much about what happened on that 3rd and 8 in the third quarter when you let a guy run straight down the middle for a 30-yard gain. Or what I think getting them the day after, I like that it speeds up the post-game analysis. And I don't feel like you're always having to harbor back to what happened. So by the time I write a story about what went wrong, or we're talking about it on this show, it's Tuesday, and and this is the way it used to be where we get the coordinators on Monday. It's Tuesday, and people are listening to what, Adam Fuller said about a mistake that was made Saturday or Friday. I like speeding that up. I really do. I like speeding that up. And plus, those Mondays sucked. Stacking them 4 in a row. Wasn't it Norvell, coordinator?
Yeah.
That's too much info. I love getting Malzahn and White. We'll see how it works in practice, but in theory, I really do like getting them on Sunday.
You're right. It's the Sunday aspect at 6 p.m. that's the bummer, because they will provide insight to your point that we don't really get from Mike, and it's dated by the time we get it on Monday, publish it on Tuesday here on the podcast. When I was in Mississippi State did not give us coordinators, I don't think really at all after games. But at Ole Miss, whether it was Houston Nutt or Hugh Freeze, their head coach would be at the podium. That would be over. Then they'd bring everybody into the auditorium, much like Florida State does. But everybody was spread out. So there'd be players sitting down at chairs in the corner, but then they also would bring the coordinators. And I remember as like a TV guy, I didn't really care about getting coordinators. I'm like, I got to get the players and the head coach, and then I'm good. I can keep this thing moving. But all the writers would huddle around the coordinators. And it was awesome to get their insight like immediately after a game. It'd be cool if they would do it that way. Like we just got everybody on Saturday, just so like we're all done. Sports information department's done. We're done gathering our information. Then we can have the next day or two to spread it out. But yeah, to have it on Sunday is more beneficial for people that are listening than it is getting on Monday. So I will not complain again ever. Everybody, I'm just gonna be a happy boy the rest.
And also,
of my life.
like I feel like we always recorded. We would wait till the end of those 4:00 window NFL games anyway to record. So you're talking about 7:30 or 8 is when we record on Sunday nights, maybe 9. That won't change much. It'll be pushed back a little bit because I'm writing. A little inside football here for everyone. But, I like it. I like being able to talk to them sooner. And I also think because, look, man, when we talked to Mike Norvell last year about the offense and how bad it was all on him. It was his fault. He didn't have any answers, but it was his job to try to find them. And it was his job to explain what happened. Well, now it isn't his offense. So you really do want to talk to the guy that's running the offense and calling the plays. And if they go out and play Alabama and get and score 10 points and have 7 first downs, we want to hear from the guy that created that. And I like that we get them a day earlier than normal. That's all. Okay. But yeah, I'd like it to be Sunday at noon. 11:30, but I think it gives them time to watch the film, gives them time to make some adjustments, maybe game plan, take a peek at the next week opponent, and go on from there. So, yeah, I'm all about it.
All right. How about the head coach? He speaks often. I think we're going to hear from him later today, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But last time we spoke,
he's on the clock.
Yeah, we spoke to him on Friday. So they started practice last week, as everybody knows. Wednesday, they went Wednesday, Thursday, acclimation. Friday, first day in pads. Took Saturday off. Resumed practice yesterday. Alabama, meanwhile, went Thursday, Friday. Took Saturday off. Went Wednesday, Thursday. Took Friday off, and then went Sunday. Or Saturday, Sunday, rather. So I jumbled that all up. I'm sorry. I just wasted
you sure did.
13
Try it
seconds
again.
of everybody's
Take 2.
life. Take 2. So Florida State started Wednesday. So did Alabama. Florida State practiced Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Took Saturday off. Practiced Sunday. Alabama went Wednesday, Thursday. Took Friday off. Then went Saturday and Sunday. So now we have that all situated. But when we did speak to Mike Norvell, much of what we kind of heard in the spring, right? I shouldn't say much, but there was that one day where he did not like the way his team performed and was not shy about saying it. A lot of people did not like that. I, for one, embraced it. It was refreshing to hear him criticize his team because he's always been so forgiving and protective of his guys. It's that time's gone. That ship has sailed. It's time to hold everybody accountable, and not just in the locker room, but I think in front of the media as well. He did say he liked the way they responded. How did you sort of audit and reconcile all that kind of stuff, Corey?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's saying it. It's not performative. He's not just saying it to show the fans, look how tough I'm going to be on this team. I think he truly believed that there was a lull where he was not happy at all. He wasn't in a great mood. You could tell when he was talking about it, he was upset. But yeah, I part of me is like with you, like, yeah, man, call him out. Number one, nobody on this team should feel confident or comfortable. Comfortable is the word. They shouldn't feel comfortable with anything and can just half-ass things when you're coming off 2-10. But also, yeah, like they're paid athletes, so hold them to a higher standard. Make sure that they and if you're only in now, look, he is on them all the time in practice. But I think when you're on a team, because we saw it, Aslan, for 6 years or 5 years. The way he would look like he was losing his mind at practice. Not Jimbo losing his mind, where he's kicking people out and just he's red in the face. But screaming, yelling, being very, very vocal. And then after practice, he's like, yeah, good work day. It's like, that doesn't seem genuine. I don't think you'd think it was a good work day, Mike. And then, but so that's how he's been. But now it doesn't seem like he's in the business of not covering for them. But like you said, you just used that term
Protective?
30 seconds ago. Protective, yeah. He's not in the business of being like that, and he shouldn't be. They don't deserve to be protected. So I like that fact. I don't know what it matters. I do like, though, that if he's going to say one thing to them in practice and how poorly they played or how soft he thought they were for 3 periods, he doesn't then go to the media and say, yeah, productive practice. I like the way they battled first day in pads. Had a few ups and downs, but overall I really liked this. Like, no. He kind of told us what he told the team. Good. There's no reason to protect these guys. Try to instill some fight and some toughness in them. And it sounds like they responded how you wanted them to, but we're not out there, so I don't know that they did. But it sure sounds like they did. And yeah, I think that you saw that. I thought you saw that, Mike Norvell, more this spring, and then the first day of fall camp, first practice, full padded practice of fall camp, than you saw, I think, in the previous 5 years. Do you agree with that? Like, I thought he was more dismayed or more challenging in post-practice press conferences in the last 5 months, the last 23, 24 practices, than he had been in the previous 200.
Absolutely. But let's also acknowledge that there was a really good stretch there where there was no reason to really be angry. But your point stands.
Yeah, but he could be. I mean, but in practice, it was like even in 2020 and 2021.
Yes, absolutely.
He would still talk about how proud he was of these guys and how hard they're fighting.
All the best intentions, right? All the best intentions, but it's falling on short a little bit. It's like, I don't care about the intentions.
2 and 10 changes everything. Legitimately, it does. Like, number one, nobody watching that or listening to him wants to hear him talk about how hard they're trying. And they want to see some fire from the head coach, and they want to see the players held accountable. That shouldn't imply that they hadn't been in the past. Man, he is a hard coach. He is not a player's coach. Yes. You agree with that, right? On the practice field,
he balances them. Well, you're right. On the practice field, yes, you're right. Yes,
on the practice field, he is not a player's coach.
Yes,
he is a hard.
Yes.
When he's talking to the media about his players, sometimes he can come across as a player's coach, but he is not that guy. But now it's not like there's no gray area, man. I feel like when he talks about what he's seeing at practice, he's being much more genuine and transparent than maybe he used to be because, nobody wants to hear it anyway. And it didn't work last year. He tried to be uplifting last year through the first 5, 6, 7 weeks and how much he believed in that team. It didn't work. The team certainly tuned him out. The fans started tuning him out. It's not ideal that your first practice in full pads, the coach is not happy with your effort or your physicality, I guess, is how we'd say it. But it's nice that they turned around, and I think fans – nobody's doing cartwheels over their coach saying that he didn't like the way he didn't like how hard they practiced at times. But I think fans at least appreciate the honesty.
I would agree. Let's pick that last part of your thought up there, Corey. I did want to maybe explore that just for a little bit. But the fact that it's your first day in pads, right? This is like a whole new reboot, new coordinators for a whole new roster practically. And you don't come out with your hair on fire in the first opportunity where you get to go out there and play real football in pads and be physical. How much of that do we chalk up to it is all these new pieces and everybody trying to kind of figure out each other? And this is kind of the collateral damage or the things that we don't think about when we get all excited about putting all these pieces together. It's going to take some time to fit everything well, it seems.
Yeah, but what was interesting about that absolutely goes. They are learning stuff. They're trying to learn on the fly. They are new schemes, but it sounded like the way he talked about the practice the thing he was upset about was he's like they've carved out 2 or 3 periods per day where they shut the music off and there's no distractions and it's just about establishing a physicality.
Hell yeah,
that's what it didn't seem like he was fired up about. Those 2 periods in particular. But I love the fact – I do. Like, absolutely, man. We all understand that college football practices aren't what they were 20, 25 years ago, or 30 years ago. They're not as hard. They're not as physical. It's just it's the reality. But I like the fact when you have such a soft team in 2024 that you make a pretty drastic change. Maybe they took away 2 periods of kickoff coverage, Aslan. Maybe they wiped away punt coverage or punt return. And instead of having 6 periods of special teams, they have 4 or 8 periods down to 5, whatever it is. But, yeah, man, you've got to establish some physicality and you've got to establish an identity. It does sound like because the way he said it, I can't remember the exact quote, but I wrote it because I wrote it down. I wrote the story that day. That it's a new addition to practice. So they are not practicing the same way they've been practicing for the last 6 years. They have added something new, and it sounds like it's all about being as physical and tough-minded as possible. And good for them. That absolutely needed to be added.
They don't need to add anything to the menu over at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. They've got it figured out top to bottom. Food, appetizers, entrees, ice-cold drinks. It's all there for your choosing. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, cptallybar.com, the website. Tomorrow's Tuesday, which means trivia, 7 p.m. Will you be defending your title, Corey?
I believe so. The only issue is that we get Norvell after that scrimmage Tuesday night, so I'm going to have to rush home. Yeah, 9:30, so I have to rush home to be there in time to transcribe. But yeah, that's the plan, is to be there defending the title.
Maybe we should do a late night live on Tuesday.
Okay, I imagine I'll have to write afterwards.
Oh, that's right.
So it would be late. But you're talking about doing a show. I mean, we could have to do a show after after Norvell talks about the scrimmage.
Correct.
So, yeah, we could, if you want to make that just a live YouTube show, whatever.
Possibly. I think we might be this might be the time of the year where we have to do one of the, I shouldn't say we have to, but we start bringing them back and we do them weekly. So maybe it starts this week. We'll see which day, everybody. But in the meantime, don't forget trivia on Tuesday, bingo night on Thursdays, happy hour 4 to 7 weekdays, and all day Sunday, even when the NFL season is in gear, everybody, because that's what Bill does. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. We are back. It's Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Ended the last segment, Corey, talking about physicality, aggression, things like that. Those seem to be the boxes that are checked off when people talk about Earl Little, especially this past offseason. You really saw the flashes of Earl last year amid all the struggles that defense had when he was first kind of put into the limelight, if you will, or thrust into duty with a lot of reps against Miami. That was not a great game for anybody, really, but he seemed to show us what he's capable of if he's put in the right position and is healthy. And there's so much kind of riding on his shoulders, it feels like, to bring that. But he seems to embrace the fact that everyone's going to be looking at him not only to provide, words, but for real, like action, like physical, hard hitting, and he's going to have to embrace it so everybody else does.
Yeah, Norvell brought him up. We've talked about him a lot in the physicality. We won't go over again. Again, he's got 17 career tackles. We are not talking about Derek Gibson or Chris Hope or Jamie Robinson, to use a modern example. This, not that he can't maybe be something similar, but he has not had a career that's worthy of nearly the amount of talk that we've given him, except that he did stand out last year in a limited time because he is physical. He does pride himself on that. And Norvell, unsolicited on Friday, maybe it was solicited, I don't remember, but he brought up Earl Little as a guy that's brought it on Friday when other people maybe weren't bringing it like he liked Earl Little was, with the physicality and the urgency and all those other words you want to use. And so, we talked to Earl Little on Sunday, and, I did, because I'm curious, like last year in film study, and he's itching to play, and he was miscast for the first half of the season. They finally figured out, let's move him so he's at least, we can get something like this on the field at least. And, but I wonder what it was like watching the other guys on that defense just be completely not physical. And that, for him, I'm talking about, and how angry that would make. I would just imagine a guy that's 199 pounds that plays like he does would be so obscenely upset with guys bigger than him getting pushed backwards and not playing with that level of ferocity, even though they outweigh him by 70 pounds. Like, why am I the guy pushing people back, ball carriers back, and you're catching dudes and falling on your back? Like, how is that a thing? Like, I would just think it would drive you crazy. So I was curious about that. Like, how does he handle that? How does he handle that now? that he is, he's certainly penciled in as a starter. How does he handle it when he sees a guy in his group, or just a guy on the defense in general, that doesn't play with the requisite physicality and aggression that he does? Does he call them out? Does he say something to him? What did you think of his answer?
Encouraging, sincere, honest.
Okay. Yes, correct. Because what he said was he will bring it up to guys. He will talk to guys. But he said he tries to be positive about it.
Uplifting, I think is what he said.
Yeah, he wants to be uplifting and he wants to be encouraging and positive. But he will get on a teammate, or at least tell them, man, you've got to bring it harder than that. That's the insinuation I got anyway. But I kind of wanted him to say, hell yeah, I'll get on a teammate. Like, you don't need kid gloves. And you don't need to, they do need some guys that will get on other people. And so that's why I did the follow-up question that they maybe didn't appreciate. But I wondered if maybe he feels like he can't really get on them yet because he's got the aforementioned 17 career tackles. He's done nothing in college, literally almost nothing, even though he was a 5-star. And we think he's going to start, and maybe he has a great year. But maybe by the Miami game, if he's been a good to solid starter on a college defense for 4 games or 5 games, whatever it's been, and he's racked up 30-something tackles, maybe by that time he will be a guy that when he sees a teammate not giving it his all, will dog cuss him. Like, sometimes you need that. You need some player-led accountability, and I don't know if he necessarily, even though he plays the right way, in my opinion, he plays so hard, is he going to be a guy that can be the galvanizing force on the back end of a defense? Or is that Shaheem? Or is that one of the linebackers? I know that's not the back end of a defense, but that's what I was getting at when I was asking him those questions.
Yeah, no, I think you and I kind of took something away from that sort of exchange. I think for me it was overall, he keeps saying that he's going to be a leader. He's embracing being a leader. He realized how important it is to be a leader. But for me, when he's not showing the willingness to be so assertive and abrasive if needed, right now, that shows me, I personally think, maybe he's not quite ready or comfortable to be that kind of leader. And I don't know if that's because of confidence in what this defense is going to be like, his confidence in himself to be able to hold up durably throughout the entire course of the season, or if it's to your point, I haven't walked it enough to be able to really get in people's faces about it.
Yeah, I mean, I would think it's probably the latter. I mean, when you're a 5-star super-duper can't-miss recruit, and then through 3 years you've kind of missed, or you just haven't proven anything yet, I can understand where how would KJ Kirkland be if Earl Little's screaming at him for not being physical enough, and KJ Kirkland could be like, man, I got more tackles than you do. Who are you? Like, I'm not saying these things happen in practice. I'm sure there's a lot more respect in that room than some 50-year-old journalist yapping on a podcast about it. Like, I get that. I'm just saying you could understand why that you would walk a little softer until you start making plays. But once he becomes a guy, and we're assuming he will be a guy, yeah, man, they're going to need. Obviously, he's going to lead by example because he is going to be trying to wreck people. But then also it would be nice, like LaMarcus, man. You think LaMarcus was cool if name someone? I don't know. Christian Jones didn't give it his all on one play. Like, LaMarcus led by example, but I also think LaMarcus Joyner led with his mouth. Like, are you kidding me? Look at me. I'm 5'0". I'm 5'0", 180 pounds. And I'm the toughest guy out here. What's your excuse? Like, I think LaMarcus was a galvanizing personality that way. Obviously, I'm not trying to make Earl Little the next LaMarcus Joyner, but I do think that is something that could come, and I do think they need it. To the overarching point about the column I wrote, was it Sunday? Yeah, we published it on Sunday, about the question I asked Norvell about the personalities on the team, and I'm not going to get into everything again, but the player-led accountability is so vital, man. It's so vital. And who was the leader last year, man? Who was, but either by example or by words? Who led on either side of the ball? Was there one?
I think Josh Farmer tried, but I don't know how. Again, I don't think he was comfortable in that role.
Did he strike you as like a verbose, like leader of men, like a guy that's going to rally the troops?
No, but just to come on, man, come on, then I'm going to go and show you the way it is. But that's not enough when you're that downtrodden of a team. Yeah.
So when you have a Jeremiah Wilson who's not only very talkative and engaging and gregarious and really fun to listen to, and hopefully he's going to be fun to watch play, but he can play. You know he can play. Now he's going to get beat, but you know he can play. You know Deuce Robinson can play. Tommy Castellanos can play. These guys with these big personalities, that the big personalities, but also put it at Norvell's biggest point when I asked him about it, and it's a fair point. He's like, look, big personalities are one thing, but if you're not putting in the work, then you're just a big personality, and who cares? You're not impacting the team. And I think he's being genuine when he says this. He's like, I like that the guys that we have, they're putting in the work, and it's not fake, it's genuine. And he talked about Jeremiah Wilson specifically, and I thought this was interesting when he talked about, do you think he loves football?
Yep.
You think does he come across as a guy that loves football? And then he compared him. It was kind of a weird. It wasn't a weird comparison when you filter it all out, but he compared him to Jordan Travis. Like Jordan Travis, Norvell said this, loved football, just loved the sport, loved pouring into his teammates, loved being a leader in his own way. He wasn't nearly as flamboyant, I guess. I don't know what the right effervescent is. Jeremiah Wilson as a personality, but loved being on a football team and being a football player. Loved it, loved everything about it. And Jeremiah Wilson is that way. It seems Deuce Robinson is that way. It seems Tommy is that way. Like you got to have these dudes, man, and I think that's that is really encouraging that he brought up when I asked him about Jeremiah Wilson. He brought up Jordan Travis and Keon Coleman as guys that completely different personalities, but what was at the heart of what made them great as leaders and as players is their love of the game, how much they loved the sport. And it certainly seems like he thinks he's got more of those guys this year than last year. Some of them happen to have big personalities, but they really do enjoy and love the sport.
Yeah, to me that sounds like a low-key way of saying the game has changed. And there's, to go out there and practice and put all that work in, yes, you do enjoy the game of football, but there's probably a larger quotient, a larger percentage of kids now versus, 30 years ago, whenever Norvell was playing, 20 years ago, that don't have that Jordan Travis, that Jerry Wilson dog in it, if you want to call it that just don't love the game. This is a means to an end. I was told I should play football. I'm good at this. I do like it, but the guys that live and breathe and die with every single opportunity to be out there with their brothers competing, those aren't nearly as high supply as it used to be. So for him to be able to kind of piece together some of these guys and get them through the portal, more so this year than last year, is probably giving Mike a little bit hope for what can happen this year. And to further kind of expound on that, Corey, I wonder how much of Jordan loving football was him learning at practice, Kenny's coaching, Mike's coaching, and the improvement he would see in his development and his performance at practice. Because you could kind of tell when they would work on things at practice, it was something that they had put in during a meeting, segment group sort of work, where like Jordan was really excited. He was like, all right, I see what we talked about. I read it right. This feels really good. And then you hear about Jeremiah Wilson talking about how much film he watches. Tony White says he's a film junkie. Like these guys, when you put in all this extra work and then you actually see it pay off and it makes you better and enhances your performance, it makes your team better, that's got to make you so excited to play the game every single day. I'm hoping Deuce is one of those guys, and it definitely sounds like Jeremiah Wilson is like one of those guys, and you need a lot of those guys.
Well, according to people within the program, Deuce Robinson is like an ultra hard worker. Like he is the prototype of what it means to work hard and not just show up. And so to work as hard as he's working and to put in the time, like he talked about, whatever he gets in, 6 o'clock, 6:15 a.m. to the facility, Jeremiah Wilson's already there. You're not doing that if you don't love what you're doing. It's not it's a grind, but it's the good kind of grind. It sounds like they look forward to getting up and going and starting their day and getting better. All that stuff, man. I just think it all can, trickle down to other guys that don't know it yet. Like we talked to Elijah Moore on Sunday. He doesn't. What would he have learned last year about being a big time receiver? Who would he have learned from? What actions would he have learned? But now he's got a prototype. Now, he's not 6'6" or whatever Deuce Robinson is.
Close,
but
though.
He gets to see every day what this guy is doing. And I bring the analogy up all the time. I'll bring it up another 20 times this year, I'm sure. My first year I covered Florida State basketball full-time was the Tony Douglas year. And it was a team full of 6 freshmen. Luke Laux was one of them, who's now the coach because I'm incredibly old. But he was a freshman on that Tony Douglas team. And they all learned what it looked like to be a pro by that one guy. And then the next year when Tony Douglas is gone, they're still replicating his habits. And then they teach the next wave. They teach to Michael Snares. And then Michael Snares teaches it to Ian Miller, whoever, all the great names of years past, everyone. But that's how that stuff works. And I liked it. Last year, there was no example for anyone. Maybe Jackson and Farmer in the interior. Other than that, there were no AZ, I guess, but AZ wasn't really a talkative leader guy. He was really good. He was a technician, but he and Cypress weren't. I don't know if they were taking the young bucks under their wings and spending hours with them. They could have been. I don't know. I'm not implying otherwise. I don't know if that's their personalities. But you to have a guy like Deuce Robinson that really seems to care about getting better. Just that example, Jeremiah Wilson, on and on, Pettibone. Guys like that, man, I just think, and I want to bring up something else real quick because I'm starting to think of all the guys we've interviewed since the last show. James Williams, what a unique personality. I encourage you guys to watch all the videos anyway, but watch that one too. He used the word archetype, which I'm convinced in fact, I know I've never heard an athlete I've covered use that in a press conference. Yeah. The word archetype, just that he's built different, man. He's a different kid, they have a bunch of unique, different personalities. I think that's a good thing. It sounds to me that James Williams could be a leader, but he's also deferential to Daryl, and I like that part of him. I like that part that he's like, well, Daryl Jackson's the leader. I'm trying to be a leader, but Daryl Jackson's the leader. He's the most talented player I've ever played with. And just really deferential and reverential, reverence, great reverence he has for Daryl Jackson. And so far the personalities that we've gotten to talk to, it's a unique blend, but it all seems pretty positive. Then again, they're talking to microphones and cameras. I don't know exactly what they're like in a locker room or with coaches or in team meetings, obviously, or practice. But you like what you hear from all these guys. I did not like that James Williams admits he loses like 7 pounds a day at practice.
Dude, I weighed myself after I mowed the lawn last week. I mowed the lawn at Saturday afternoon at 1:30, peak heat, and I dropped 4 pounds. So if I was
Why did you do that, by the way?
Because it's still going to be, what's the difference between 93 and 89 at 7 p.m.? And I don't want to mow the lawn at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. And
you get those gnats.
Yeah, amen, brother. You know what it's all about. So, yeah, I mean, I literally, I'm going to weigh myself before I go out there and see what happens afterwards. And yeah, I dropped like 4 pounds from being out there for 2 hours. So, yeah, helmet, shoulder pads, and actually running and not just, it's self-propelled, but I push it myself. I don't use the self-propelled motion, everybody. I want to save my battery. But
smart.
Yeah, so it makes sense to me. I think even Chris Thompson said it on Sunday. Was he talking about Amari Williams where he would talk about him being 210 pounds and like losing 5 pounds at practice and then having to eat everything and put it back on. So I don't think it's anything uncommon or too uncommon, rather.
No, it's just you want to see him be bigger. I'd like to see him a little bit bigger.
Absolutely.
I'd like him to present bigger when he's talking to us. But he's lightning quick. Apparently, he's going to be a problem on pass downs. But yeah, man, I just think he's there's something about him too. Like he seems so comfortable talking about. He was at James Williams. I'm talking about. There was that clip. Was it your clip of Knighton telling him you're just a pass rusher?
I don't know. I think somebody on Warchant, it wasn't me. I got the Knighton telling everybody about the weather.
Oh, okay. So that clip was on, obviously on the internet, and then James Williams was asked about it, and he laughed. But he's like, "You're talking about him telling me I'm just a pass rusher," and he was nodding his head like that's what he's used to. But he's not combative about it. He understands what Terrence Knighton's trying to do. He understands that he has a role that he's trying to. He's not supposed to be just a 200 snap a season guy like he was in Nebraska. He's supposed to be on the field for 600 snaps. So he's got to be better. He's got to be stronger. He's got to be bigger. And he's got to – it's almost like a mindset change. Like, yeah, man, you've got to be physical and at least hold your own with these 320-pound tackles trying to push you out of the way. Hold your own. And Knighton was getting on him early. First day of practice he was getting on him. But he seems to handle it all well. He seems to have a really – again, I keep using the word mature. A mature outlook on things like that. And when you talk about this coaching staff and the maturity they brought in with the players, I just think it's a recipe for maybe a surprisingly good year, but certainly an improvement. So but anyway, so far I've really liked what it's just such unique guys. Like Pettibone and Jeremiah Wilson are teammates. Right. Like Brian Stork and Jameis Winston were close teammates. And they could not be more different. But their personality, you need all types. And so I just think, and I'm not saying that this team's going to go 14-0. Probably won't. I'm going to go ahead on a limb and say I don't think this team's going to go undefeated this season. But I like that there seems to be different types of personalities and different types of leaders. Like I think Pettibone is going to be a big-time leader for that room. But he's not Jeremiah Wilson's personality. He's not Deuce Robinson's personality. He is a grown dude that doesn't probably have time for any of your foolishness if you're a freshman lineman that isn't giving everything you have. He's a pro. He attacks these practices in these meetings like a pro, like a 23-year-old paid athlete, which is what he is. They have a lot of 23-year-olds. So let's hope that they play like it.
Decisions. Power or speed, quality or quantity. How about both? How about all? You don't have to sacrifice anything when you choose Brunt Workwear. You're not only going to get durable, well-crafted, resilient workwear, but also really stylish choices that allow you to go ahead and pivot right from the job site to your kids' activities, running errands, or meeting up for drinks after work. And since Brunt Workwear is geared for you, the real worker, they know you got no time to waste. You need those work boots to deliver once you get them in the mail and you lace them up. So enjoy the peace of mind of work boots and gear that are ready to go right out of the box. Got that broken and comfortable feeling day one to give you the comfort and security you want. Use the promo code WAKEUP. I'm going to say it one more time. Wake up. It's all one word. Over at bruntworkwear.com to save $10 off your order. I'm going to say the website again, everybody. You ready? bruntworkwear.com. Use that promo code to save $10 off your order. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. There's one thing I wanted to go back to from the previous segment, Corey, when we're talking about James Williams. And I think he was asked about Stephon Thompson, the linebacker from Syracuse, who then followed Tony White to Nebraska and then followed Tony White here to Tallahassee. And he had a really good freshman season, got injured, and it's been kind of trying to regain that form. And I think James Williams talked about seeing Stephon happy. Like he seems happier now than he was last year at Nebraska. And then James Williams said, like, I'm happy. Like I love being here at Tallahassee. I love being around these guys. And I wonder how much of that is also the, loving football. Like to love football, you probably have to also be happy while you're playing football. Those kind of things probably go hand in hand. So to hear him say that kind of caught my ear. And it made me think about perhaps, listen, if this season works out, I think we'll come back and we can maybe do a whole show about this topic. But I feel like so many of the guys that arrived last year through the transfer portal, it was relief. It was, I didn't get an opportunity at my last school. I was doubting myself, but Florida State coming off this great season, 2 great seasons, this coach, his reputation, him being able to find guys in the portal, like, thank God I'm rescued. I'm saved. I'm good. I've made it. Like, it's all good. I don't have that same kind of feeling from a lot of these guys, because obviously they sign up for a 2-10 team.
Yep.
But instead of being like relieved, they are happy. Like they're probably happy looking at all these awesome things they're building for them as football players with the football operation facility, the stadium upgrade, the coaches they have, the training table, their teammates, their health, right? These guys are healthy and they're in the right positions now. So these are the kind of things that you could underpin a really successful season, but are hard to contextualize in the heat of, September, October football games. But I'm hoping that's something that will put things in the favor of the Noles this season.
Well, yeah, sure. It's hard to quantify something like that, right? Happiness and mindset when it comes to being a college athlete and how much that helps. It certainly can't hurt.
But think about a guy like Stephon Thompson. Sorry, Corey, but a guy like Stephon Thompson who's probably been super frustrated for the last 2 years. Earl Little and him probably could sit down and have a podcast and talk about that kind of stuff. But to be in a good mind space and to have all that kind of stuff behind you, which I hope Earl does as well, like that's a very encouraging kind of development, I feel like.
It is, but sure, I'm not trying to dismiss that. It is. It's just hard to talk about, like their happiness, because we don't know why they were unhappy. Like it wasn't like Thompson wasn't playing at Nebraska. He wasn't putting up the numbers he did at Syracuse, but he did play. I just think when we're talking about the guys we're talking about, compared to last year, you think about the type of person that transferred to Florida State after 2023 season. Holy cow, I'm going to one of the top 5 programs in the country. This guy's a genius. His offenses score points. They're fun. I'm a great player that just hasn't been noticed by my coaches. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to go and I'm going to ball out at this great institution and show basically the Alabama coaching staff what they screwed up. And I'm going to be the player I know I can be at this other school. Awesome. Almost none of them worked out. Literally almost none of them. I would say the only transfer that played even close to the level they had played was Richie Leonard. But Richie Leonard had started at Florida. So there's a reason he got here and was a starter. It was a contributing starter and probably the best lineman on the team before he got hurt. He had showed that he could play football at this level. All the other guys really hadn't. And then you'd go to this year. I think the point you bring up about the kind of player that would join a 2-10 team versus the kind of player that would join a 13-0 team. That is a different mindset, man. You are not coming here because of all the bright lights of what happened last year. You're coming into a ditch. You're the guy on the side of the road that sees a car broken down, and you pull over to the side and see if they need any help. You want those people.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person that goes, man, I hope they called their husband or wife, got AAA, because I don't got time for this. And I'm not going to help you with your car anyway. I can help you change a tire maybe, but that's about it. I can't help you with anything else. Yeah. I'm that person. The person that pulls over to the side of the road that tries to help a stranded bystander, those are the salt of the earth people. Occasionally they're a serial killer. Most of the time, though, 99% of the time, they're salt of the earth people that are really trying to help. So think about what Jeremiah Wilson joining a 2-10 team, and Deuce Robinson, and on, Pettibone, every lineman they brought in. You're getting a different kind of kid, man. I think you're getting a different kind of, want and just a goal in a mindset for a guy that comes to to try to rescue a 2-10 team. And I know they're not like, it's not all on them. It's not like Jeremiah Wilson's like it's on me to get this team back to 8 or 9 wins and respectability. But think about the mindset it is of those guys that want to do it, that want to come here and be a part of that. Now, I know money plays a part, but also mindset plays a part. Also, Jeremiah Wilson has played in 30 games in his career and started like 17 of them or 15 of them. These linemen have all started 20-something games. You know, it just you can't put a price tag on that, man. Those linebackers have combined for 500 tackles. How many tackles did Sean Murphy have in his career before he showed up? So you're getting legitimate football players that know what it takes, man. That know what it's supposed to look like. Does Sean Murphy? I'm sorry, Sean. Did Sean Murphy know what it was supposed to look like as a legitimate starting linebacker? Did Malik Benson know as a wide receiver?
13 career tackles, by the way, for Sean Murphy. Now he had 3 coming into last year.
He's still not on the team, is he? Where is he?
He is on the team. No, he's at South Carolina.
Okay, there you go. I'm sure he'll blow up, have a great year. Good luck, Sean. I'm just saying, like, he still does.
George Wilson, by the way. Sorry to interrupt. George Wilson, remember that him and Patrick Payton were both those like 180-pound defensive ends out of high school, and he went to Campbell or he went to some smaller school and he worked himself back to Division I high-level football. Right. Good for him. So.
There you go. Yeah. Good for him. So, yeah, you get Deuce Robinson and Squirrel White as opposed to Malik Benson and Jaylen Brown. Like, that's just
good trade. Good trade.
But you know what I mean? The production of those two guys, well over 100 catches in their careers combined, 15 or so touchdowns, whatever the case may be, compared to Malik Benson and Jaylen Brown, who had 10 catches between them total. And you're hoping that maybe they know what it is. You're not hoping with these guys. They've done it. It's on film. They've done it. They're not going to be surprised. They're not going to be overwhelmed. They're going to be fired up to play Alabama. They're not going to be urinating on themselves when they play Alabama. And they're not going to be overwhelmed by anything because they've lived it. Same with these coaches, man. Same with these coaches. They've lived it. You think Gus Malzahn is going to be shaking in his boots on August 30th?
No.
That dude coached in the SEC for 15 effing years. He coached a Heisman winner. He coached in a national championship game. He coached in the Big 12. He won back. So Tony White was in the big, not the big house, the horseshoe against one of the all-time great football teams and held them to 2 touchdowns. Like, these guys have done it at a high level. So that I liked it when you sit back and look at the roster in particular. Yes, the attitude helps. The happiness helps. Why they're here matters. Also, just that experience, man. That experience and the actual on the field, in a box score, on film production that they've had at this level means that the roster is just going to be better, man. It's just going to be better. Think about the linebackers you played with against Georgia Tech. What did you have? Who were your starters? Was it Omar Graham, like one-legged Omar Graham? Who else? Was it Cryer Nicholson?
I want to say so, yeah.
Well, now you're going to have Thompson, Herring, and maybe one of those guys, maybe a 2-legged Omar Graham, but guys that have done it a lot in games. It's just going to be a completely different world.
I need to find this out now because people are yelling at us probably. Let's go to defense. According to PFF, DJ Lundy,
that's right.
Omar Graham Jr. Yeah, you only went 2 backers. So This is your starting defense according to PFF. It was Azaria, Kevin Noles, Darrell, Shaheem, Fentrell, Marvin Jones Jr., Josh Farmer, Omar Graham Jr., DJ Lundy, Patrick Payton, Devontae Brown.
Oh, Devontae Brown. That's right.
Yeah. So.
Would have been nice if Marvin had been a player.
Yeah. Got a nice email the other day, Corey, from our guy, Old Dad's a Nole. He was in Reno, found a sports book, showed me his bet slip, put $100 on the Noles to win the ACC, plus 2,500. Plus 2,500 the odds. So,
all right, nice.
He feels good about it. Won't break him if he loses $100. It was fun. But he did have a housekeeping request, and it comes to mind because we talked about signing up for a 2-10 football team versus what the team was in 2023. Housekeeping request for a year and a half now. You and Corey have referred to 2022 as a 10-win season, yet refer to 2023 as an undefeated season. The only way that can be true is if you don't count bowl games if we win them. The only way that can be true is if you only count bowl games if we win them. Sounds like what the industry refers to as spin. Now, I realize anybody worth a crap sat out the Orange Bowl, but truth is Oklahoma had good players who sat out that game as well. It may sound trivial. I hope it does not. It does not, Old Dads and Noel. I don't think, and I don't disagree with Corey and the sentiment behind the 13-0 classification of that season. The team that played Georgia was not what this team really was. But, even if they were full, would they beat Alabama? I don't know. I like to refer to them as a team that won 13 straight games. That's how I refer to them.
They won 19 straight, didn't they?
But that wasn't that same team.
Well, right. So they won. Look,
the program won 19 straight. That team won 13 straight games.
I will say this: if they had gotten to go to the playoff, which they should have, I think I've covered that, and lost to Michigan, I would not call them a 13-0 football team. I'd call them a 13-1 football team, because that would have been the Florida State team that played for 3 months, sans the quarterback, in that game.
If the Louisville game,
would have been
if the team that played in Charlotte played in any postseason game, you would be more comfortable accepting the result.
Correct, and they would have had a better quarterback than the one they had in Charlotte. But absolutely, I don't think it's disingenuous.
No, are you talking about Jordan? Are you kidding?
No, I'm talking about both. I'm talking about the fact that Brock Glenn, the team that played in Louisville didn't have Tate Rodemaker. It had Brock Glenn.
I mean,
if the team that played Louisville in Charlotte had Tate Rodemaker, I think they win that game by 3 touchdowns.
What?
2 touchdowns.
My gosh! Why don't we?
He would have hit. He would have hit. They wouldn't let Brock Glenn look at anything. Like once he almost threw a pick, they're like, "We're not throwing the ball again."
Yeah. Okay.
And I think they might have thrown one ball in the second half. I don't think they're doing that with Tate Rodemaker. They believed in that guy more. And it's fair because it was a third-string quarterback. They just didn't want to lose a playoff spot in a championship because Brock Glenn threw a pick six.
Right.
Put it on the defense. I think with Tate, they would have had more trust in him.
Okay.
So, no, I'm saying if the Tate Rodemaker-led Florida State Seminoles lost to Michigan in the Rose Bowl January 1st or whenever they played that game, you would hear – at least myself, call that Florida State team 13-1, because I don't think Jared Verse is sitting out the Rose Bowl, but that Orange Bowl was a complete catastrophe. It was an insult to everything. It was an insult to the season. It was an insult to college football. They should have declined the invite. In fact, they did. They declined the invite by all intents and purposes. They got to get the check though. But that Florida State team was an abomination, and it was an insult to Florida State. It was an insult to all of you that care about this program to go watch that nonsense. And I hate it. I hated everything about it.
Oh, man,
I didn't want to go
back. Yeah, I feel like you put that away in some
Well,
place
in hindsight, I'm like,
back.
I shouldn't have gone. It was stupid that we had 3 people there. We should. I mean, because I remember Ira was like, it's the Orange Bowl. And I'm like, not really, dude. This isn't the Orange Bowl. This is hogwash. Sorry to use such harsh language, everyone.
He's really
Southern's coming out in me.
I got to turn your mic down, man. You're going.
Sorry.
You're
So that's why I refused to call them a 13-1 football team. That was Keon Coleman wasn't even in the building. Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, guys that are pretty good. If you've watched Renardo Green, none of these guys played. That was not Florida State. The 2022 Cheez-It Bowl, they all played, and it's a fair point to say Oklahoma had guys sit out. But great, man. I don't. Yeah, their quarterback didn't. He was pretty good. So I
Gavin Sawchuk didn't sit out.
Dang right. He ran for one full bill against Adam Fuller's defense. So I think that was more of a fair representation of what Oklahoma was, although they did have some guys sit out. The Florida State Orange Bowl roster was not a fair representation of that team in any way, shape, or form. That was not the team. They literally had, I think I tweeted, I don't remember what it was, like 41 scholarship players available. 41? Come on, man. They were 13-0. That was a 13-0 football team. The Orange Bowl does not count. I know it counts in the records. That does not count in my mind and never will. And also, I don't like giving the playoff committee that kind of, authority, because the playoff committee is the reason that game was such a stupid waste of everybody's time. And I don't like adding that one, because that wasn't a real representation of that team or what that team should have been awarded for going 13-0. So they will always be on this show. I get it. It's not factually correct, but it is. They will always be 13-0 to me. I'm never, ever, ever, under any circumstance, going to refer to 2023 as a 13-1 football team.
Okay. There you have it. I'll just say they won 13 straight games.
It's fair, though. Sometimes I'll say a 9-3 team for that 2022 team. I know they won 10 games, but that's fair. That was a 9-3 football team. You know, the bowl games, especially now as we move on, they really don't make they don't make any difference at all. Nobody cares. Nobody. I mean, unless you're in the playoffs, whatever happens in the bowl game, it legitimately feels and looks in everything else like an exhibition. So from this day moving forward, let's say this team this year goes 8-4, Aslan.
Yeah,
I might just stay no matter what happens in where would they play? The Citrus Bowl, the Belk Bowl,
Tax Slayer Bowl, maybe
the Tax Slayer Bowl,
Pop Tart Bowl. I think 8 wins.
I might refer
Pop-Tart
to them as an 8-4 team, whether they win or lose.
Okay.
I probably won't, though. He's right about that. If they win the bowl game, I'll probably add that dub. Even though both teams are missing half their players.
So it is spin. It is spin, old dads.
It's just specific to that Orange Bowl, man. That Orange Bowl still bothers me so much.
It does, clearly. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring it up in such a painful. But let's go out on a bit of a higher note. So we did speak to Elijah Moore on Sunday, and Mike Norvell said on Friday that Moore had a really good 3 days to start the practice, or 3 days to start preseason camp. We spoke to him on Sunday, talked about just kind of being more comfortable, a little bit more mature. He's a guy that did not make our top 40. I think he was on several people's ballots I should be able to look that up if I just do Control F. He was on Corey. He was on your ballot, and he was also on Ira Schoffel's ballot. You guys are the only two that had Elijah Moore on there. I'm sorry, I apologize. Also Jeff Cameron also had him on. So 3 out of the people that were on the panel. I just did not, the Gus. It's the whole Gus thing. We're going to run football so much, and I don't know how many receivers are really going to get mixed in there, but that would be a delightful surprise for me if he actually ends up emerging as somebody they think they can rely on. How encouraged, how buoyed are you to hear Mike say that, and then they get offered up Elijah, and just to hear the way he talked and communicated and how comfortable he was in front of a microphone?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I am because he's the guy they talked about a lot last year. I think it's telling that Norvell's hard on everybody, but he definitely specified that he's really hard on Elijah Moore. Now you could hear that 2 different ways. You could hear it like, well, Elijah, get your crap together, dude. Quit making the coach unhappy. But I think that we all know this. It's a saying forever is when they yell at you, that means they do think you're good. When they stop yelling, be worried. Yeah. So he really thinks that Elijah Moore has a really bright future. So that's a good sign that he singled him out. I also think maybe it has to do with the fact that Javon Boggs is getting so much attention from everybody that Norvell might be like, hey, we got this other guy. Boggs is not the clear-cut number 3. By the way, though, did you see the FSU football? I guess it's Seminole Productions, but they tweeted out some highlights, at least a few. It's like a 40-second video. That's all we can take.
Is he number 7?
No, that's LaWayne McCoy.
That was a nice catch.
Big-time catch.
Really slick video, too, by the way. Shout out to those people.
And then Boggs made a really nice catch in there somewhere as well. Didn't see Elijah Moore, but that doesn't mean anything. But you forget about McCoy too now, and then when you have McCoy and Boggs and Moore, Deuce and Squirrel. What a world we're living in! I'm just referring Deuce and Squirrel. It's like a 70s police. And
Wheezy, and they do call LaWayne McCoy Wheezy, so
you got Deuce, Squirrel, and Wheezy. Yeah. All right, and then just Elijah. Come on, Elijah, come up with you need a nickname, man. You can't just be maybe Eli, but even Eli's just short for your name, but. So Deuce, Squirrel, you got Deuce and Squirrel. They're going to play a lot. It's that third spot. If McCoy and Moore and Boggs are all competing pretty at a high level, and we like LaWayne McCoy. Don't know what he's done other than that one catch they showed. Don't know what he's done so far in fall camp, but we liked him a lot when he was healthy. He made plays. I think they like him too, and we know they like Elijah, and everybody likes Boggs. So that's a all of a sudden you feel like, okay, I get what you're saying. Malzahn's not going to be air raiding it all over the place. But it's nice to know that there are some younger dudes that look like they could be real players. Where maybe, Aslan, I'm just throwing this out there, just spitballing, next year you don't have to spend any portal money on wide receivers. Unless Jeremiah Smith wants to come back home. You don't have to spend any money on wide receivers because you've got 3 really good ones in McCoy, Moore, and Javon Boggs. And they just fill right up and step into the place that's vacated by Squirrel and Deuce if and when they leave. So, but yes, it is nice that Elijah's that Norvell talked up Elijah Moore. That's a good sign. He has shown some promise. Certainly, at least he did in practice last year. So the fact that McCoy, and Boggs might be real players, like legitimate, how about this, Aslan? Legitimate recruits, high school recruits that come through this system and actually perform. Wouldn't that be something?
A tingle go down my back.
Yeah, like the old days.
Yeah. All right, lots to look forward to as camp keeps rolling on. They're going to be in Jacksonville for a large part of this week, but in the meantime, they'll still be in Tallahassee grinding, including today. So we get Mike Norvell and selected players after practice. So check out warchant.com later on after probably your lunch break. I think they're in morning sessions now, right?
Yeah, we get him. It says 11:30, but probably 11:45 or so is when we'll get Norvell and the players. Also, before we forget, because I forgot last week, like every show, shout out to Lottie Wode, who won her first pro tournament last weekend, and then she was in the British Open this past weekend, and I think finished top 10. Maybe I think she was top 10 going into Sunday. I don't know how she finished, but she won her very first pro start. She won the tournament and won $300,000, by the way. So, I get why she left, I guess. Still, Lottie, you could have won a national championship. That means more than a piddly $300,000. But yeah, then she was in the British Open. It was in the top 10 going into the final round. I know she didn't win it, but maybe she finished there. I also think Mirabelle Ting won her first professional event. I don't know what event it was, but I saw on Twitter that she won her first professional event as well.
Woad finished tied for 8th.
There we go. How about that? There you go, Lottie. She's already one of like the top 10 women's golfers in the world. Like, and I don't think I'm not rushing to judgment there. Like, she won her first event ever. Didn't she win an event when she was still an amateur?
I think so. That sounds about right.
And then she finished top 10 at a major in her second pro, quote unquote pro event. She's really good.
Yeah.
So good for her.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I think Mirabelle Ting won this past week. Her second career win on the PGM Tour. Not sure exactly what that stands for, but so she got a dub. Heck yeah, good for her. That's awesome. All right, so again, football guys talking football after practice today. We'll be there. If you don't want to wait 12 hours to hear us babble on about it, Jeff Cameron's got you covered. He doesn't babble. Shoots it straight. Him and Tom Lang, right. 1 to 4 o'clock. Warchant TV, warchant.com. We're everywhere at all times. Hit the thumbs up. Subscribe. We really would appreciate it if you could do that. And also subscribe to warchant.com. Again, $1 for a week. Enjoy a 1-year subscription to The Athletic on 3. All the good stuff going on. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com.